All right, part two. So you're going to be seeing lots of videos of this bad boy here. Okay, so I talked about a bit of the specs, the 22 fret, the graphite reinforced neck, C-shaped profile, thin, not like Wizard neck thin, but or Jackson speed neck thin. It's just a little bit chunkier than that, but I guess that's because of the graphite rods. It is narrower at the nut, it feels, but it is the same compound radius, the 14 to 16 compound radius or whatever it is. Regular Jackson tuners on there, gold plated, not locking, but I don't think it's going to be an issue. The nut, who cares what the nut is? Yeah, Duncan's, fixed bridge, amazing action, chunky sounding guitar. But this is probably the most angry sounding guitar I've ever owned. My SG61 reissue is a very angry sounding guitar. This is a different kind of anger. This is kind of, I wouldn't say Swedish chainsaw, but you get that Swedish chainsaw kind of out of it. It's really, really good. I think a lot of it has to do with the ebony fingerboard. Just brings those mids right where you want for that kind of thrash metal sound. And, it's so good. That said, strangely enough, well, not strangely enough, actually, you should anticipate this, but this guitar, even though you don't have like push-pull pots, like Ola Anglin said when he reviewed it, like this guitar isn't meant to have like 15 different sounds. It's, but it kind of has that kind of Charvel kind of sound. Now, Charvels and Jacksons are both owned by Fender, but what I noticed with this is like Fender, for example, a lot of Stratocasters either have a maple body, a swamp ash body, or an alder body. And alder's a really clear sound. It gives you it doesn't give you a vintage sound. It gives you a very clear sound, very clean mids, not overblown on the low end. They're great for clean, but clarity. So when you got these two bad boy pickups, these pickups are really nice. One thing I want to show you before we go on here is the bridge pickup is like insanely high and the neck pickup is like pretty much all the way down. But yet when I plugged it in, they were balanced really, really well. When you play both pickups clean, it has a really nice sculpted sound, especially with the 22 frets with the neck instead of the 24th fret would normally come up here and pushing your pickups closer together. You get more space here, so you get more of that really kind of acoustic-y kind of sound. So if you're playing, progressive metal, you can play clean with this. Is it a jazz guitar? No. You can do it, but not the ideal. Is it a blues guitar? No. You can do it, but you get the idea. Is it a rock, metal, hard rock, that kind of guitar? Yeah, absolutely. Shredder's Dream? Absolutely. Action on this thing? Absolutely fantastic. String spacing seems to be, all the strings are lined up on the poles. It looks like this string could be just, this pickup, is strings just a little off center of this pickup. Why? I have no idea, but it's just the way it is. However, I didn't notice, the pickups are very balanced, meaning this string and 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 this string all have equal outputs. So it just gives you a nice smooth sound with lots of aggression. Harmonics on this guitar, insane. But with a fixed bridge, you tend to get that. I do believe there's 9-gauge strings on there, which is kind of weird for me because most of my fixed bridge stuff plays 10s. This is just absolutely fantastic. The pig squeals on this thing, you're going to see what I mean. Like the harmonics, the pig squeals, just absolutely nuts on this guitar. If I compared it to any other guitar that I used to own, it would be my Hammer Diablo, which had a rosewood fingerboard, alder body, and a maple neck, and was 24 frets and was a Floyd Rose on it. And this sounds an awful lot like that. Now, I imagine that guitar I always said was my best sounding guitar alive for modern sounds, for vintage sounds, my 61 reissue. That's what I have that for, is for that classic sounds. But I wanted a guitar that sounded very modern, with a good fixed bridge, great sustain, phenomenal sustain, for sure. So for modern sounds, I got this. For the other sounds, I got that. But even if I compared it to my old Ibanez RG750, this thing smokes it, like sound wise. Like, I think this is going to be an incredible guitar to record with as well. I will have to play it a lot longer than 3 days to tell you exactly, you know, what this guitar is truly about. But it is as professional as a guitar can get in its genre for sure. I mean, whether you're into pointy guitars or not is not really the issue here. It's that if you can't play it on this, there's not too much. You know, like there's no $10,000 guitar that's going to play better than this. You know what I mean? And I play, you know, like, I mean, I play high-end guitars. I've played many high-end guitars. I've played guitars in the $10,000 to $12,000 range. Not that I own them, but, you know, go to the shop and you play them. After about $1,200, $1,500, you're pretty much at the max of what you can really get out of a guitar. The rest is either paying for rarity, the name, you know, something like historical, whatever. Or, you know, like say collector stuff. This is a working man's guitar, but it is so good. It is so good. So right now, I think it's one of the best sounding guitars I've ever owned. Even in this little, like, for modern sound. It's so good. It's so good. Now, that said, being a neck through body, one of the things you get with that is you get a lot of volume. And one thing, like I showed you, the pickup being low, is one thing I noticed with neck through body guitars or set neck guitars is that you get a lot of resonation right here, which makes your neck pickup really overbearing. So you usually have to lower it down. So maybe that's why this pickup is down so far. I can imagine if you raised it, but yet I already found when I plugged it in, like that neck pickup is just sizzles. It's like, it just blows it out of the water. And this crystal clear just seems to handle the effects very, very well. But I've always loved Seymour Duncan pickups. I've never been a huge fan of the Damasio's. Seymour Duncans, I've tried a few of them over the years, and I've had a few in different guitars, and they always seem to be just like the right pickup. That said, if I did nitpick any flaws, now this is common to pretty much any neck through body Jackson, is the tape line. For this price, I'm expecting no tape line. You know what I'm saying? That said, this neck is absolutely brilliant, very fast, very smooth. It will darken over time like my other one because, you know, the more you play it. And but the heel joint is absolutely brilliant on this. The action on a Flying V, I know they're not everybody's guitar, but everybody I've ever talked to that's like, oh, I hate Flying Vs because they look weird and they got to be uncomfortable. And then they play them like, that is the most amazing thing I've ever played. Like, your fret access is good up to here. You're good up to the first pickup. It's just because your hand can just get the whole way. Like, nothing constricts you whatsoever. Again, this guitar is going to be a really good live guitar because it's nice and light, but yet you got a good tone wood. Again, like I said in the previous video, if you don't believe in tone woods, that's fine. If you can't hear the difference, don't worry about it. But I can tell you, if you are looking for a metal guitar that you want, that is okay for solos, but really, really tight on the rhythm sound and really, you know, something that like blends in really nicely, but with a good brilliance and a lot of aggression, that ebony fingerboards are just, they're different. They're super, super silky smooth. And they give you like a kind of like a sculpted mid kind of sound, but with a really high brilliance on the high end. And then it works. The ebony works so well with the Alder body for sure. Again, of all the Jackson Flying Vs I've tried, this is definitely the best sounding one. This might possibly be the best Jackson they make in its price range. Is, you know, just because it's so good. I mean, they're making $2,000 Jacksons with poplar bodies and basswood bodies, you know what I mean? Like, and those, like the if you're into the tone woods, those are the woods you want to avoid. So this is a pro guitar, perfect recipe, really good components on it. I don't know what the pots are like that or the switch. That's not really what the meat and potatoes of this guitar is about. The meat and potatoes of this guitar is the pickups, the body, the fingerboard, and the playability. Again, the most angry sounding guitar I own. Love it. I know I've got the 8-string. The 8-string is the heaviest sounding guitar I've ever owned. This is the angriest sounding guitar I ever owned. It has now dethroned the aggression, anger that you hear out of the shorter scaled Gibson SG61 reissue, which is a really angry sounding guitar. But this is just where it puts the mids. It gives you that low chugging, where the SG gives you more mid-range and cuts through. So if you were actually going to record, this would be the ultimate rhythm guitar to record with, and you'd use the SG to do the solos. But that said, this thing solos absolutely phenomenal. My sucky playing notwithstanding. I'll make a third video.